everybody. Welcome to Search the Scriptures and study number 10 in the book of Job. Today we're going to look at two different chapters, chapter 20 and chapter number 21. And we are going to attempt to answer two different questions concerning this discussion between Zophar and Job in chapters 20 and 21. First of all, the first question places Zophar's views of the state of the wicked in this world alongside Job's views, and what points do they agree on and disagree on. Second question, in this second cycle, Job's friends, gaining no victory, utter threats. Is defeated conservatism bound to take refuge in acid predictions of gloom? And had Job something to teach them if only they were willing to learn? I think that's a real interesting question, especially in the current political environment in the United States, for example. And a lot of times conservatives, when liberals take over, you have a liberal president or a liberal Congress, things like that, then all of a sudden everything's doom and gloom and the world's falling apart. Typically is something that is a kind of rhetoric that's lapsed into. And we really forget that, whether we like it or not, want to admit it or not, some of those prosperous, wealthiest times in recent history in the United States of America was when the country had a liberal president in Bill Clinton. Some would even say, a wicked president, up for you to decide. Question of marital fidelity and things like that, while in the White House, yet the nation's prosperous. So how do you deal with those things and that seeming conflict? And that's really what these two chapters are all about in the book of Job. So let's look at Job chapter 20 and chapter number 21 together. If you have a Bible, you might want to get it out and follow along. If not, the words will be on the screen. So let's listen to this passage of Scripture together.
Job 20. Then Zophar the Naamathite replied, My troubled thoughts prompt me to answer because I am greatly disturbed. I hear a rebuke that dishonors me, and my understanding inspires me to reply. Surely you know how it's been from old, ever since man was placed on the earth, that the mirth of the wicked is brief, the joy of the godless lasts but a moment. Though his pride reaches to the heavens and his head touches the clouds, he will perish forever, like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, Where is he? Like a dream he flies away, no more to be found, banished like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will not see him again, his place will look on him no more. His children must make amends to the poor, his own hands must give back his wealth. The youthful vigor that fills his bones will lie with him in the dust, though evil is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, though he cannot bear to let it go and keeps it in his mouth. Yet his food will turn sour in his stomach, it will become the venom of serpents within him. He will spit out the riches he swallowed. God will make his stomach vomit them up. He will suck the poison of serpents. The fangs of an adder will kill him. He will not enjoy the streams, the rivers flowing with honey and cream. What he toiled for he must give back uneaten. He will not enjoy the profit from his trading. For he has oppressed the poor and left them destitute. He has seized houses he did not build. Surely he will have no respite from his craving. He cannot save himself by his treasure. Nothing is left for him to devour. His prosperity will not endure. In the midst of his plenty, distress will overtake him. The full force of misery will come upon him. When he has filled his belly, God will vent his burning anger against him and rain down his blows upon him. Though he flees from an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow pierces him. He pulls it out of his back, the gleaming point out of his liver. Terrors will come over him. Total darkness lies in wait for his treasures. A fire unfanned will consume him and devour what is left in his tent. The heavens will expose his guilt. The earth will rise up against him. A flood will carry off his house, rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. Such is the fate God allots the wicked, the heritage appointed for them by God. 21. Then Job replied, Listen carefully to my words. Let this be the consolation you give me. Bear with me while I speak, and after I have spoken, mock on. Is my complaint directed to man? Why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be astonished. Clap your hand over your mouth. When I think about this, I am terrified. Trembling seizes my body. Why do the wicked live on, growing old and increasing in power? They see their children established around them, their offspring before their eyes. Their homes are safe and free from fear. The rod of God is not upon them. Their bulls never fail to breed. Their cows calve and do not miscarry. They send forth their children as a flock. Their little ones dance about. They sing to the music of tambourine and harp. They make merry to the sound of the flute. They spend their years in prosperity and go down to the grave in peace. Yet they say to God, leave us alone. We have no desire to know your ways. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? What would we gain by praying to him? But their prosperity is not in their own hands. So I stand aloof from the counsel of the wicked. Yet how often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out? How often does calamity come upon them, the fate God allots in his anger? How often are they like straw before the wind, like chaff swept away by a gale? It is said, God stores up a man's punishment for his sons. Let him repay the man himself, so that he will know it. Let his own eyes see his destruction. Let him drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what does he care about the family he leaves behind when his allotted months come to an end? Can anyone teach knowledge to God, since he judges even the highest? One man dies in full vigor, completely secure and at ease, his body well nourished, his bones rich with marrow. Another man dies in bitterness of soul, never having enjoyed anything good. Side by side they lie in the dust, and worms cover them both. I know full well what you are thinking, the schemes by which you would wrong me. You say, where now is the great man's house, the tents where wicked men lived? Have you never questioned those who travel? Have you paid no regard to their accounts, that the evil man is spared from the day of calamity, that he is delivered from the day of wrath? Who denounces his conduct to his face? Who repays him for what he has done? He is carried to the grave, and watch is kept over his tomb. The soil in the valley is sweet to him. All men follow after him, and a countless throng goes before him. So how can you console me with your nonsense? Nothing is left of your answers but falsehood.
Now to the questions. Question number 1. Place Zophar's views of the state of the wicked in this world alongside that of Job's. How do they agree? How do they disagree? Well, Zophar seems to see the wealth of the wicked as something that's temporary, while Job sees it as something that lasts both to and beyond the grave in many ways. Zophar says that the children of the wicked are going to have to pay for the sins of their fathers. And Job looks at that and sees that as a terrible injustice, that the fathers should pay for the wicked themselves. Job acknowledges that the wicked and the righteous are both going to be eaten by the same worms in the grave when they are buried into the ground. But above the ground, their graves are going to be completely different. One's going to have monuments built to them. The wicked will. And men will continue, these monuments will continue to serve as an incentive of other wicked people to still want to aspire to be like that wicked person that was buried in that well-marked grave versus the one buried in the unmarked grave. And Job marvels at the fact that the wicked have no problem whatsoever in telling God that they've got no need for him, no time for him. They don't need his services at all. Second set of questions. In the second cycle, Job's friends, gaining no victory, utter threats. Is defeated conservatism bound to take refuge in acid predictions of gloom? And had Job something to teach them if only they were willing to learn? You know, the arguments of Zophar against the wealth of the wicked are the exact same type of arguments that we still use today when we see wicked people prospering. The struggles in the debate between Job and his friends are the exact same struggles that we have today when we're debating this issue. This book has so much to teach us when it comes to wrestling with the extremely difficult questions of the prosperity of the wicked that are among us. It's extremely frustrating to serve God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your might, and to see everything falling apart around you, while those that don't want to have anything to do with God whatsoever go along their merry way. So we tend to do the same thing that Zophar did, make the same arguments. We say things like, well, they're not really happy on the inside, they're really miserable. Yet the reality is this: many of them are perfectly content, and whenever they do get in a difficult situation, all they do is hire a lawyer or hire one of the best doctors, and everything is just fine all over again in their life. And the injustice that exists on this earth does cause us to lapse into predictions of gloom. And Job gives a good dose of reality in his speeches, and he forces us to engage the Lord in this argument. And I think that many people, when they begin to study the Bible, they begin to study it, and then they quickly set the Bible aside, because it forces them to wrestle with some deep issues and some deep questions like this. Why do the wicked prosper? So they really then prefer to believe in a God of sugar and spice and everything nice that they've conjured up in their own brain, rather than engage the God of the Bible, whose ways are beyond our understanding. And all of these arguments with Job, if we really look at it and study it closely, they're the same arguments that we have. And we don't know why the wicked prosper. We don't understand why we go through difficulties and everything else. It doesn't make any sense to God, to us, why God would allow all this to happen to us. But he does. And a lot of times the wicked go on their merry way and nothing ever goes wrong with them. Job helps us to deal with this. Hang in there as we study through this book. God speaks at the end of this book, and he speaks in a powerful way. And Job's life is transformed. I hope your life will be transformed as you continue to search the Scriptures with us. God bless. Have a fantastic rest of your day.